And so if you have any questions along the way, store them up, let me know what they are at the end, and Rin will pass them on. Can I get a thumbs up? Can you see my slides there? Awesome. All right. So it's a bit of a crash course tonight, but more than happy to pick up the conversation in the Q&A at the end, or maybe in the Slack channel afterwards. A little bit about me. I'm head of marketing at Easy Agile, a local tech company here in Wollongong. Before that, I had marketing, content, and digital roles in Sydney in financial services companies, and also at UOW. And throughout my career so far, I've been really fortunate to have opportunities to do a whole host of things, from running marketing experimentation programs, and also to look at traffic and content marketing and SEO, which has been great. So tonight we're going to talk about how to scale up your business, or perhaps the company that you're working in, using content marketing and experimentation. Very intriguing. So let's start with content marketing. You might think of content marketing maybe as a blog or YouTube videos, or in recent times, maybe TikTok. I must admit, I'm a little bit addicted to TikTok at the moment. But it's so much bigger than just building a following on social media or collecting likes. And whether we like it or not, it's time to accept that everyone needs to be a publishing company. In 2020, every business, every freelancer, every consultant, every agency, every marketer, everyone here in the Zoom, I strongly believe we need to be media companies. It sounds a bit strange to say it like that, but I think we need to adapt to where the world is moving. And we've seen that to be really true during the last few months, during COVID. Out go the in-person events, out go the sponsorships, out go the out-of-home campaigns. There's really no point putting an ad in a bus shelter anymore because people aren't on the streets. So how do we connect to our tribe when life is cancelled? How do we connect to our tribe? I think the answer is content. So how do we get to this point? Well, you probably have noticed this trend. When Facebook, Twitter, and these social startups got going, all of these platforms were trying to grow their businesses. So they were giving away eyeballs for free, right? They were more than happy to promote content that businesses were putting out there. Happy days. But in recent years, as these big platforms have gotten more and more popular, not so much. And we're left asking, where have my eyeballs gone? Where have all my followers gone? Organic social reach is pretty horrible now. It's really hard to get an organic social post out there and into the algorithm. And even organic search, only 40% of Google searches now end up with a click. And some searches are almost entirely ads served by Google, or syndicated content that Google is pulling from websites and just displaying natively on the search results page. And meanwhile, the cost of paid media has skyrocketed. It's more expensive than ever to try and get those eyeballs that we previously got for free. So what's the answer to this? We have to get back to the basics. What makes great content? Well, I think great content is three things. It's anticipated, it's personal, and it's relevant. That's it. Anticipated, personal, and relevant. It doesn't need to go viral. It doesn't need to be overly creative or flashy. But what it does need to do is be genuinely helpful. It has to meet a need that a real human has. It definitely can't be annoying or salesy or too cheesy, although a little bit of cheese is okay. Your content needs to meet a need that actually exists in the life of a real person in your tribe. It has to be generous first. So you have to give first before you ask for anything in return. So there's a few examples of this, and they're actually really inspiring in the content marketing space. So Canva, we all know, I did these slides in Canva, an Australian business now worth about $8 billion. It's a bit crazy. They actually grew their business off the back of content marketing and SEO. They built thousands of landing pages for each different type of design that someone would ever want to make. So they've got a landing page for birthday card templates or invitations to 3-year-old birthday parties. You name it, they've built a specific relevant piece of content for that audience type. They even built a design school to help aspiring designers learn their craft. That's pretty awesome. Wistia is another example. It's a video platform. They've created documentaries to help aspiring video makers. Shopify built a logo maker to help their online sellers get started in building their business. And Webflow, a no-code website builder, they launched an academy to help teach their users how to do web design. So I've been studying some of these brands for a while and how they do their content marketing. And when I was working in Westpac in Sydney, I was working in the digital team there for about 5 years. And looking at the SEO data in the home loan space, I saw that the keywords around home loans calculators had 100,000 monthly searches in Google in Australia. And in Westpac's website analytics, I saw that those people who used a home loan calculator were 50% more likely to go on and apply for a home loan with Westpac online. So it was a really simple insight using the data that we had, but it was extremely powerful. Because if we could invest more in improving our content, in this case, calculators and tools, we could drastically improve both the traffic to our content and also the conversion rate. So this is where it gets really powerful. I invested in what was already working. So I already knew that this content was working for us. So what we did, we went and refreshed all of our calculators and tools. We added new features. We made it work on mobile. We actually built a new free property research tool where you could find out the value of any home or look at suburb trends in real estate. And this work wasn't easy, but it was effective. We rapidly climbed the SEO rankings and ended up doubling our revenue for the year. And this project was a big part of that. But this content kind of breaks the mold of what we traditionally think content should look like, doesn't it? So these aren't articles or videos or blogs, but calculators are personal, they're relevant, and they're timely, and they're genuinely helpful to the audience that at the time Westpac was trying to connect to. So how can we make this a repeatable process? What I'd recommend is look at your analytics to see what is working today, plus try to add in some small experiments. Try and experiment with different content types you might not have considered before to see if something is a standout success. You might even want to try and repurpose some of your existing content. Try it on TikTok, try it on Snapchat, try it on YouTube, try it on LinkedIn. Let's see which channel works for the audience that you're trying to connect to. It's really easy to make assumptions, but often the best way is to go and do it and then measure the results later on. So what could you create that is genuinely helpful for the people that you want to connect with? So you've identified your target market. What's something they'd really like to hear from you about? And what's an experience you could deliver that's really going to be genuinely helpful for them? Okay, and once we build out different content types that are helpful for our audience, we can then look to move them through to a value exchange. People are more than happy to exchange value for value. So once we build that trust, we're giving, and making their lives easier. We're solving problems for them, for our tribe. We can then have the permission to ask for something in return. And I like to call this a micro conversion. This might be something as simple as asking for an email address or asking them to start a free trial of your product, or maybe just sign up for a webinar that you're hosting. So on the Westpac free property report, what we did is we added in live chat and we added a link so people could send an email if they needed help with financing their home loan. It didn't have to be a real complex thing. We didn't have to put a big ad up the top. And actually, in fact, the less friction you have in that user journey, the better. So once we've built out that series of different types of content, we've got a few layers of micro conversions working for us, we then start to see a funnel emerge. And we can see that traffic that pours in at the top eventually comes out the bottom in the shape of new customers, new sales, new revenue, new leads. And then we have that. Now that's something we can optimize, right? We've got the funnel. We've established what that conversion rate looks like through the funnel. Now we can look at optimization. So this is what an optimization process looks like. It's otherwise known as experimentation or conversion rate optimization. You might have heard the phrase CRO, stands for conversion rate optimization. Companies like Spotify, all the big banks, Facebook, Twitter, they all now have dedicated growth teams or teams that run experiments on you 24/7 to find out what works. So you can kind of think of this like science for business. Basically, the goal is to get more people to make it through each step of your user journey as quickly and as seamlessly as possible. To do this, you need to form a hypothesis. So it's very similar to a scientific experiment. We need to form a hypothesis as to why changing something on that website or in that journey might lead to an improved conversion rate. And this is easier when you have a lot of traffic already coming through. But if we've got the content marketing part of the funnel right, we should now start to see traffic. But the process of running these experiments, they're normally A/B tests, which you might have heard of in the past. This process is exactly the same, whether you're running a small business, whether you're an agency, a freelancer, a consultant, or if you're a multinational company, it doesn't matter. This process is the same. So once we run an experiment, then we can take the learnings and we continuously improve and iterate. We go back to the top. We go back to user research and testing. We go back to our analytics. We form a new hypothesis, run the next test. So this process just continues over and over again, and it should never really stop. So how powerful is CRO? How powerful is optimization of a funnel? Well, I think you'd be really surprised. Some of the experiments you run really do challenge your assumptions. And over the 6 or 7 years that I spent running these experiments at Westpac and also a multinational money transfer service called OFX, it's really quite surprising about what works and what doesn't work. Sometimes the ugly design is the one that wins. Sometimes an image of a human might lose to an image of a dog. Or maybe that's not surprising to you at all. Other times, your experiments just fail completely and you actually damage your business instead of pushing it forward. But you always learn from the experiments. Now, this funnel here is actually an experiment I ran at OFX, which is a money transfer platform. And we redesigned the homepage in the UK. And based off our research, we had a few different insights about inserting more social proof, more customer testimonials. We did a redesign of the layout of the homepage. And we actually saw, after running this experiment, a 30% uplift in conversion rate of people going through and signing up and opening an account with OFX. And that translated to a saving of $800,000 over the course of the year for that business. So it's hugely significant. And you can imagine when you're working at that multinational stage or you're working with a big bank, it can really start to have a compounding effect. If you're taking all of that traffic, and even if you're getting a 1 or 2% uplift in the conversion rate, it can have millions of dollars of benefit to the business at the end of the day. Now, marketers often get criticized for not really impacting or caring about the bottom line of the business. I really hate that characterization because I think marketing is essential to driving revenue. And this model actually shows that by focusing on the right things, marketers can absolutely have an impact on the bottom line of a business. Because revenue is directly linked to 3 factors. Number 1, the number of visitors you get to your content, i.e. traffic. Number 2, the conversion rate of that traffic. And number 3, the lifetime customer value of those customers that you acquire through that traffic. Now, today I've talked about 2 of those factors, visitors and conversion rate. So how can we get more visitors? Content marketing. Let's find what works with the tribe that we're trying to connect to. How do we improve the conversion rate? Through setting up an experimentation program and trying to convert the traffic that we are getting at a higher rate. So the golden formula for success, the formula for scaling up your business, Whether you're a company of one or a multinational company, it's all the same. The golden formula is growing traffic plus a growing conversion rate equals a growing business. It sounds really simple, but I found it to be true. So if I had to condense all of this into 3 tips, it would be tip number 1, make content that is genuinely helpful. Tip number 2, experiment to optimize your conversion rate on the traffic that you are bringing in. And number 3 is to combine the power of point number 1 and point number 2 to grow your revenue and to grow your business. And this is a repeatable process. So I've taken this process that I've learned at these big companies in Sydney, and now I'm following this at Easy Agile. What we've done is we've also narrowed down on the content that's working well for us. For us at the moment, it's SEO, webinars, and email marketing. And now we're going to move on to the next step and look at experimentation and automation to try and convert that traffic that we've worked so hard to get and make the most out of it. Well, thanks so much for listening, everyone. Before I hand back to Rin, I just wanted to talk about 3 things. The first thing is I'd love to continue to talk about these topics in the marketing channel on Slack. So if you haven't joined, please do join and post your questions anytime throughout the next few weeks or months. Be more than happy to talk about this. Number 2, I do post a weekly email newsletter about what's trending in marketing. If you're interested or you're into that sort of thing, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to send it to you. And point number 3, Easy Agile is a local software company. We do have some software developer roles open at the moment, but we will be looking to grow the team in the future and hire more people into our non-software roles and also grow the marketing team. So if you're interested in joining Easy Agile in the future, please let me know on Slack and I'll let you know when we post a new job. Thank you. Over to you.